So, but there's some things that we need to understand about when we talk about fasting. We need to know about who are we, man, who is man, who is the human being itself. Um, in the Quran, Allah SWT mentioned, and when the Lord said to the angels, "Lo, we are about to place a Khalifa, in the earth." They said, "Will thou place therein one who will do harm therein and will shed blood while we praise you?" He said, "Surely I know that which you know not." In Surah 32, chapter 32, verse 72, Allah SWT also mentioned that Allah offered the trust unto the heavens and the earth and the hills, but they shrank away from bearing it and were afraid of it. And men assumed it, lo, he had proved a tyrant and a fool. This verse shows that Allah SWT, that man has actually agreed to take up this amanah as a Khalifa on earth. And of course, another surah, وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ. We created the jinn and human only that they might worship us. Okay, and so this also to show about the purpose of man. So from these verses, we understand that man is comprised of the body and soul. Okay, we as a man, because we are the body material part, we need food, we need drink to sustain ourselves. Okay, like if you look ourselves in front of us, we have a hot tea, we have some bread and so on, because we know that early in a Sunday morning, we need some energy. Really, we need some energy. Kata ada sarapan, susah mau mau hidup. So we need some food to sustain us, and of course sometimes we need warmth, we need heater, because I know in this room sometimes can be very cold. So these are very physical, okay? But we also need to know that we have other needs, and this is the spiritual needs, the soul, because we cannot neglect that man also has the soul, and this also needs food, its own special food. Okay, but the food doesn't come materialistic, something that we need to see. It's very intangible, cannot be seen. Now, what's that food? We will come to that. Now, so men, because we have to so-called balance between the body needs and the spiritual needs. When men tend to focus more on the material needs, our spirituality will go down. It's normal, our spirituality will go down. So for ourselves, like all of us go to work, we have jobs to do. Early in the morning, automatically wake up in the morning, go to school, go to office, work, come back home, and then the cycle repeats. Every day, most men will do that. But if men just focus, he thinks that the life is just like that, going through the life, eating to earn a life, or earning money to get food. If he goes through that kind of lifestyle, we are just like the animals. Okay, the Allah SWT described, try to look for the verse, that Allah described like the cattle, like the animals that they eat, they live, they eat. But we men cannot be just like that. Our purpose is not that. Our purpose is not to eat. Okay, it's not. I mean, that's what we need, but it's not the main purpose. It's not the main purpose. Therefore, Allah SWT wanted to differentiate that we shouldn't be living our life just like the animals. We have to be different. We are men. Okay, and the capacity of men is that we can focus on our spirit, our soul, so that we can really be like the angels. As we all know, angels, malaikat, is a special creation by Allah SWT, that all malaikat, they obey Allah SWT without any argument. But for men, we are different. We are given the faculty of reasoning. We can decide right and wrong. We can choose. If we choose the right one, then we will be elevated. Our soul will be elevated, just like the angels. But if we decided to do evil, we decided not to follow the goodness, and then we will be demoted like the animals. So we have the choice to go up or to go down. Okay, and that's the one that decides will be the soul, not the body, but the soul, our soul. Okay. That's why I mentioned about the spirituality. It's very important for us human to really look into to learn about study about our nafs, our ruh. Okay, we need to really understand the potential that man has to really to upgrade ourselves and to be the most pious. Now, to become spirituality, based on history of man, if you look, how do I achieve that spirituality? Let's go to the hutan. Let's spend there about a few days, a few nights. I think we heard some stories. I think from our traditional siapa? Well, I don't know. Some like, oh, kalau you want to be good, run away from the family. Don't spend. Go get out from the house. Go to the hutan, to the cave. But look for any caves. Spend there for a few nights, few days. Meditate. And then reduce eating food. And this is what people do. They fasting. Okay, or we say this topic we are talking about fasting, right? People, I don't want to eat any food, any drinks. Look at Muhammad Gandhi when he tried to strive for his cause. I want to fast, but remember his fasting was a bit different. He still don't eat food, but he drinks a certain liquid. So you see, man, when they want to achieve spirituality, they will choose fasting as one way for them to get closer to their spiritual cause. They will try to run away, isolate themselves from the area. Okay, means don't stay at home, go somewhere else. They also do more of reading, reading of the sacred texts, trying to understand what is the meaning of life. If you look into Islam, Islam has everything. We have fasting from dawn to dusk. We have itikaf, where Allah SWT encourage the fellow believers, Muslims, to spend the last few nights of Ramadan to be isolated, just to spend. Because He knows, Allah SWT knows that we humans, we make a lot of mistakes. Even in Ramadan, sometimes even though Allah SWT want to train us to understand about fasting, to really know the meaning of fasting, the real meaning, which means not about abstaining from food, but trying to be closer to Allah SWT. But yet, sometimes we are so weak, and Allah SWT and the Prophet has also mentioned that you can spend your time itikaf. Itikaf, the last 10 nights. He knows, so because He's giving us opportunity for us to really be closer to Him. And of course, the opportunity for us to read the Quran, because when we talk about Ramadan, we cannot deny the importance of Quran in Ramadan, where every night in Tarawih, the Imams will try to complete one juzuk per night, to complete the whole Quran in one Ramadan. So the meaning of Ramadan and Quran should be very, I would say very close, cannot be separated. And it's also a time for us to understand the Quran, not just to memorize, but also to understand the meaning behind the Quran. Okay, so it's really, when we talk about men, if men choose their own way to be closer to God, it's also mentioned in the Quran that men will come up with their own innovation. If our context will be what? Bid'ah, our own way of trying to be closer to God. Or I want to do this, I want to do that. But we have to study the Quran. What does the Quran say? Fasting is one of them for us to be closer to Allah SWT. Because when we fast, we are cutting ourselves from the temptations, from the luxury of having food and drinks around us. Okay, for us, easy. In our house, we just open the fridge and then we have the food. I mean, alhamdulillah, the invention of fridge has made our life easier. We have microwave, not enough. Okay, the food is cold, just warm him up and so on. Okay, not like during the Prophet's time. When they have guests, they straight away slaughter the animal and then prepare it. So it takes time, right? Really takes time. Slaughter it, cut it out, and then cook it and prepare the guests. Now it's so easy. It's like within minutes, within 1 hour, half an hour, we can prepare for ourselves and for guests. And so the temptation is very, very strong, very, very strong. There's a tendency for us to overeat. Okay, less exercise and overeating is a problem. Not only more problem for myself, maybe. Okay, so we really need to focus on that, the temptation. And then, if we look in the verse of the Quran, okay, Ya ayyuhallazina amanu kutiba alaikumus siyamu kama kutiba alal ladzina min qablikum la'allakum tattaqun. This verse, I just come to the verse. Yes. O ye who believe, O believers, fasting is prescribed to you as it was prescribed to those before you, that you may ward off evil. Fast a certain number of days for him who is sick among you, or on a journey, the same number of other days, and for those who do it with hardship. It's a ransom. The feeding of a man is in need. But whoever do good willingly is better for him, and that ye fast is better for you if you did but know. The month of Ramadan, in which was revealed the Quran, a guidance for mankind, with clear proofs of guidance and the criterion of right and wrong. And whosoever of you is present that is alive in the month of Ramadan, let him fast the month. And whomsoever of you is sick or on a journey, let him fast the same number of other days. Our desire for you is, he desired not hardship for you, and he desired that you should complete the prescribed period, and that you should magnify Allah for having guided you, and perchance you shall be grateful. This is in Surah Baqarah, verse 183 to 185. So here Allah SWT described about a group of people that have did fasting before Muslims. Okay, before Muslims, there were a community of people who were already doing fasting. And we can look into the study of Judaism and Christianity. But we need to understand, why do they fast? Why do they fast? Why do they fast? And how many days of fasting do they have? Anyone know? How many days? Which are the days that they used to fast? Did you have any Jewish friends? Oh, come on. You live in Australia. You should have Jewish friends. They are very rich. 40 days. That one similar. It's mentioned in the Bible, in Christianity. But of course, Bible, there's some similarity with the Judaism. Prophet went to Medina. Remember, the Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam saw the Jewish people in Medina. They were celebrating certain days of fasting. And the Prophet asked, hari apa tu? Yeah, in the month of Muharram, hari yang, which day? The first, 15th, 30th? If according to the Muslim, will be the 10th of Muharram. What the Prophet saw was, he asked, and the Jewish people saying that they were celebrating fasting. Remember, they were fasting and celebrating on Ashura. On Ashura. And the Prophet asked why. They say that they believe that this day is an event, very historical event, where Prophet Musa and his followers were rescued from Pharaoh. Okay, Pharaoh trying to chase them, trying to kill them, but they were drowned. They drowned on the Red Sea. Okay, so the Jewish people know about this. They really wanted to, celebrate, remember about the sacrifice that Prophet Musa has gone through, and they fast. And it was in Medina at that time, and they still doing this practice this their fasting. Generally, the Jewish people, when they fast because of when they are under oppression. Sometimes when they are, or when they felt that the Allah SWT is not happy with them, that's why they fast. The mentality is different. It's like, according to the author here, when these Jewish people, they fast to remember the problems that they have gone through, the challenges, okay, the displeasure, the oppression that they have gone through. So fasting to them is like, it could be a form of punishment to them, okay, the Jewish people. It's like, this is the event that happened to Israel, for example. According to here, there's some of the Jewish people, they also fast because of the events that happened to Israel. They will do fasting. So you have bad things that happened to Israel, so they will fast. And some of the Jewish people also, they have their own private fasting, which means nafsi. I have some own private fasting. I'll just fast because of my own personal reasons. Now we come to Christianity. There is 40 days of fasting according to their belief that Isa also fasts 40 days. Okay, But according to the Christianity, that they do not have any definite legislation. There's no fiqh on fasting for the Christians. There's nothing fixed. And the reason is, if you all know that Prophet Isa was sent to he was a Jewish man, and he was sent to the Jewish community. He was trying to teach the Jewish people to go back to the real teachings of the Torah, that is to believe in one God, yeah, and of course to follow the commandments. And basically, he was trying to reinforce the teaching of the Torah and nothing else. And that's why in Christianity, there's no really fiqh. It was not meant to come up with a new ruling on fasting. So they just have to follow whatever Prophet Moses has done, whatever the Jewish people has done before that, they will just have to follow it. Okay, so that was the mentality of the Jewish and the Christians. And therefore, we come to the Muslims. When was the commandment of fasting was given to us Muslims? Is it before or after Hijrah? Does anyone can help me? When? Kalau salat, you all know salat was during the Isra Miraj, a few years before Hijrah. But how about fasting? When was fasting prescribed for us Muslims? Boleh discuss? Okay, we choose before or after? After. Okay, agree. Okay, after Hijrah. Okay, but which year? First year? Second year? Huh? Pak Jamal? Second. Betul, second year. Okay, it's not the first year, but the second year. Now, the rationality, we try to understand this. Kita cuba fikirkan. That the first 10 years of Islam, when Allah SWT revealed the first verse, Iqra, and then the Prophet Muhammad SAW and the followers, the believers in Mecca, they were being oppressed. Okay, because of the Meccan rulers, they were so unjust. They do not allow the Muslims to practice religion freely. There's no freedom of religion in Mecca. So, but again, there's also a rationale that Allah SWT wanted to make their faith stronger, the Imam stronger during the first 10 years. And then the opportunity for them to do Hijrah, migrate from Mecca to Medina. And then in Medina, they were, for the first time, they were able to establish an Islamic state. Because of that, they were also to set up, able to okay, boleh. They were also able to establish a lot of rulings, and one of them is puasa, fasting in Medina. So the commandment of fasting was sent to the Muslims at that time, and we have to understand this. These are the Muslims who, for the first 10 years, they were being oppressed. They couldn't practice. They couldn't even pray in front of Kaaba without being, being oppressed by the Meccans, those who idol worshippers. So, but in Medina, they were able to do that. And Allah SWT gave this command. Okay, gave this command. And I like the verse here when Allah SWT described about this commandment about fasting. Mana dia? Okay. O you who believe, fasting is prescribed to you as it was prescribed to those before you. Okay, as it was prescribed to those before you, that you may ward off evil. Of course, in Arabic word, takun, to gain taqwa. So this verse, according to the author, when Allah SWT tell the commandment to fast, he was also telling the believers that you are now ordered to fast, commanded to fast in Ramadan, just like what the people before you have done. So when you heard of that, fasting is so difficult. To young kids, probably, when we were young, fasting, puasa, tak boleh makan, tak boleh minum. Oh, susah. Really susah. From daripada subuh fajar sampai maghrib. Wow, the kitchen is there, the fridge is there, and the microwave is there. It's like calling you, every time you, we of course we go to the toilet, but we also will go to the kitchen and we see, looking at the food. It's very, very difficult. But actually, Allah SWT say, wait, the people before you have done that. They have done that. So it means it can be done. It's a ruling, it's a commandment that Allah is trying to tell us. If the people before you have done it, you can do it. And now, when the command was given to the people, to the Muslims, on the second year of Hijrah, the Muslims already have the belief. So it was a preparation for them to accept the commandment and were able to fulfill it. Okay? And when they want to fulfill it, it's not because they were oppressed. Not like the Jewish people. They were fasting because they were thinking of their oppression. They're thinking that Allah SWT was not happy with them. But for the Muslim, it's because they already have the belief. And it's for them to get closer to Allah SWT. Spirituality, go back. Trying to go to make our soul closer to Allah SWT. And that was the mentality of the Muslims. And that should be the mentality of us. That fasting is for us to be closer to Allah SWT. Nothing else. It's not just food and drinks. It's more than that. Okay, and that's when later on we discuss about how Allah SWT has already prepared for us for this Ramadan. How should we behave? And another important, when Allah SWT mentioned about this Ramadan, the fasting Ramadan, Allah SWT and the Prophet Muhammad SAW also mentioned this, always encourage us that there is an incentive, there is a reward, a big reward, okay, a big reward that's waiting for us who follow fasting in Ramadan. So, the incentive, if I believe if we can recall, there's one hadith says that if you look into the month of Ramadan, the first 10 days of Ramadan is about rahmah, Allah's mercy. Okay, and this is true. Allah SWT is giving us mercy for us to meet Ramadan and to fast. We also know the hadith, right? That if you know young people who wanted to get married but they cannot, what did the Prophet advise these companions? Mau kahwin tapi tidak boleh. Buat apa? Fasting, puasa. Huh? Fasting? Kenapa fastingnya? What's the hikmah? Reduce the temptation. That should be the way, kan? Bukan more temptation. Fasting doesn't make us to eat more, not to eat overeating and so on. But it's of course to reduce temptation. Because the devil, shaitan, will always look opportunity to try to go into our life, into our minds, trying to influence us, trying to whisper us. And the Prophet says that by us doing fasting, we are trying to cut down the temptation. So when we cut down, we block it, the devil will not be able to enter it. So this is really the hikmah behind fasting. And that's why the companions who were not able to get married, so the Prophet will advise them, do fasting, sunnah, okay? Fasting, so to reduce the temptation. So it's a mercy that this Ramadan, this fasting is actually a mercy to us. It's not to torture us. It's not really to make us really make us suffer or we're gonna die. We cannot survive this whole month of Ramadan. It's not true. Last week there was an article from United Kingdom. A few schools in UK, they advised the Muslim children from a primary school not to fast. They banned fasting because last year they find out there were some primary school children who fainted while they were fasting, or who got into trouble, got into injury. So because of that event, the primary schools in United Kingdom start to ban, and of course the Muslim community were not happy. Why are you banning? Why are you banning the Muslim children to fast? Now we have to understand we have to approach in a balanced way. The Muslim children who are fasting, they need to know, if you can fast, you fast. If you cannot fast, break your fast. You have to understand that. We should prevent the children from getting into a state where they need medical help. Okay, remember, your life is more important. It's not about the fasting. Okay, if you look into the basic principle of Sharia, the preservation of life is more important. Okay, of course, deen is important, but if your child is dying, don't force them to fast. They have to break for the fast. So again, we have to understand this issue that for young kids, it's not an obligation for them to fast. It's you can practice them. We can practice. They can start practicing it. Okay, just like our kids. But again, we must have some compassion. Okay, if you look in the verse where Allah SWT give the commandment in Surah Baqarah verse 183. After that, Allah SWT was also telling the believers, those who are traveling, siapa yang kalau businessmen who travel, who need to do business, they are given the option not to fast. Because we know it's very difficult. We are traveling, it's so difficult for you to maybe to follow the days of fasting. And also, of course, also those people who are sick, the old people yang sudah tua, memang if they cannot fast, they don't have to fast. And talking about the old people, Sheikh, this Sheikh from America, Canada, what's his name? Well, it's not Yahya Ibrahim. There's another guy. I forgot his name. He was approached by an old man, 93 years old. He went to this Sheikh. He asked this Sheikh, is there any verse in the Quran saying that an old people can be excused from fasting? And the scholars say, yes, there is. Just pointing to the verse 184. There, it says that old people can be excused. And the man say, Alhamdulillah, in that case, then I don't have to fast. And this man, he's 93 years old. It was the first time that he cannot fast. He cannot fast. After 93 years, he cannot fast for the first time. And that's why he want to ask a scholar to give advice. Can he not fast? And the verse says yes. And the Shaykh was so shocked that this man, he has been fasting for until 92 years old, and his years of fasting is more, of course, compared to the Shaykh, who's very young at that time. That shows how committed this old man, who was given a long age and he was given the strength to fast even at that age. And we need to understand this. When the verse says about fasting, it's not about hardship. Remember that. Never, our SWT have no intention to cause us to suffer. And we have to tell our young kids, of course, and ourselves, that we are not doing this because we are trying to torture ourselves, trying to punish ourselves. No. It's about being closer to our SWT. Okay? And this is, we also have to understand this, that for 11 months, we are able to, eat, drink, go to work as normal. 11 months. But only this 1 month, Allah SWT wanted us to focus on our soul. That's all. Nothing much about, about trying to prepare more food, trying to be more better in our iftar. It's not about that. It's really to focus more on our soul so that we can be closer to Allah SWT. And there's an incentive. As I mentioned, the first 10 days was rahmah. The middle days was about gaining forgiveness from Allah SWT, maghfirah. And the last 10 days of Ramadan is about getting freedom from the punishment of hellfire. Okay, so which means if we are sincerely in our fasting, that hopefully the Allah SWT will granted our wishes, our hopes, to gain the mercy, to gain the forgiveness from Allah SWT, and to be able to gain freedom, okay, from being punished from in the hellfire. So this is something that Allah SWT has prepared. The incentives is to motivate us to really train our mind to be focused that this is the meaning of Ramadan. Okay, bazaar is important, of course, for us who cannot food. But remember, bazaar is not the only thing. Okay, we can still have bazaar. Okay, but look, it's more than that. Okay, it's more than that. In fact, we should have more. The prayer of Tarawih prayers is also important. Which means we should spend less time sleeping. Not only during the day but during night time. Kau remember kalau lepas makan, wah, kenyang perut, our stomach after 12 hours of no food, suddenly our stomach is so kejut sudah shock, kejut with so many food. It can have effect for our tarawih, our night prayer. So we have to eat normal. We have to eat normal. So advise our wives, jangan masak banyak-banyak, sikit-sikit sudah cukup. Okay. Special okay lah, but not too much. Okay. So remember, the Ramadan that when we go through the fasting from Fajr to Maghrib, and then we have the normal night prayers. Again, we have to maintain our food intake, not to get so overshot for our stomach, and then we can fulfill more. Okay, we can fulfill more. Now that our night time is almost more, winter time. Our night is almost longer than the daytime. Therefore, we should make full use of this Ramadan month, inshallah. And Allah SWT knows, okay, and knows about our shortcomings. Because we are men, we have this body and soul. We tend to focus. Sometimes we tend to overeat also during iftar. Allah SWT knows that this is our shortcomings. Okay, this is the shortcomings among the Muslim ummah, Muslim community. That we think that, oh, because I do not eat, my stomach deserve more. My stomach need to qada bayar, you know, that kind of thing. So the when I say that over, is the overeating is really something that we need to control, and we need to make sure that we are not doing the opposite of the spirit of Ramadan. Okay, remember Ramadan is about us to be closer to Allah SWT, and we have to really think that food and drinks are not that important. Okay, and this is where, because we make a lot of mistakes. Talking about mistakes, if you look into the Prophet's life, when it comes to 2 months before Ramadan, the Prophet will tend to do more fasting. And subhanAllah, he's a Prophet, and he's also doing this, he's setting a good example for us. And of course, he's basically he wanted to tell us to start practicing our body to get used to the body clock, waking up early for suhoor, and then do the fasting, and then iftar. So a form of training, but if we practice less, sometimes we can make mistakes in Ramadan. We do not make full use of the time Ramadan. So actually, on the first day of Ramadan, we should be able to be making full use of it. The moment waking up for suhoor, waking up for fajr, pray together as a whole family, and then continue the fasting, and then iftar. Do not delay the iftar straight away. You know, have the eating the food together, bless, have the blessed dinner together as a family, making dua just before we breakfast. So these are the moments that we really need to practice it, and hopefully that our fasting will be accepted by Allah SWT. And the thing also about fasting is, the Prophet also mentioned that when we are fasting, we should avoid misusing our tongue, because our tongue would have the tendency to say bad things, whether we say apa ni, spreading rumors, backbiting people. Young people, our young kids sometimes have the tendency to say vulgarity. So we have to tell them that fasting also means avoiding the evil tongue, avoiding saying evil things, okay, from our tongue. And this is there's a relevance, okay. Fasting not just food and drink, but also how we take care of our tongue when we speak, when we talk to our friends, when we talk to our parents, when we talk to our kids. All these things will have a part. The hadith says, if I can find it, inshallah, it's saying that if we fast and we keep on doing the things that we have done for the last 11 months, like, you know, saying bad things, our fasting will not be accepted. Even though our stomach is hungry, tak makan, tak minum. Ya, saya puasa, tapi still talking the bad stuff, will not be accepted. And we are like, waste. It's a waste. Bankrupt. You're not gaining any money, any income, any incentive. Bankrupt. By the end of your month of Ramadan, you don't change. This is about changing. That's why Ramadan, when it comes to fasting, it's also about changing our habits, trying to change ourselves, the way we talk, with the way we, you know, do we watch TV? Do we spend more time watching TV during Ramadan or not? You know, should we try to cut it down? And okay, and even change. It's about change also, because we also know among our Muslim community there are some people who don't pray, but when it comes to Ramadan, they will fast, because this is, when, believe it or not, Ramadan is like a social reform. When we fast, people will have the consciousness, aku tak puasa tapi aku tidak mau makan, I don't want to eat in front of my fellow Muslims. I feel malu, mungkin rasa malu, mungkin rasa malu, rasa segan to eat in front of my friends. So that person will start to fast. Walaupun dia belum pray, but slowly by fasting you will be closer to Allah SWT. Therefore for us, don't try to judge. Kamu tak solat tapi puasa, apa ini? Don't say such thing. Hopefully by him fasting, her fasting, hopefully he will spend more time in the mosque, spend more time, pray 5 times a day mungkin, or maybe they pray 3 times a day, you know, pray Maghrib, pray Isha, you know, that kind of thing, slowly. because we need to attract them. And this is a good opportunity for us to do da'wah for our fellow Muslims. That I know my students, they don't pray. So I told them, just slowly try to pray twice a day, 3 times a day, slowly. And this Ramadan, we try not to put them off. They fast, yes, you can fast. You know, there's a verse says that, the Prophet says, if you fast, you should pray. Okay, but we try not to put them off. We say, okay, since you are fasting, hopefully the Allah SWT will open your heart to start start praying. Okay, so we need to encourage them. Hopefully that those people, those our fellow young people, Muslims who are not praying regularly, hopefully that this Ramadan we give them encouragement. We hopefully that they since they are fasting, they are doing one of the pillars of Islam, they will try to also do the other pillars of Islam, which is prayer 5 times a day, inshallah. And these are the shortcomings that we all Muslims are facing. We all know. Remember, Islam is perfect, but Muslims are not. And that's why Islam are meant to be sent to us to make us perfect, to make us better. No one is good. Even I myself, we have weaknesses. I have weaknesses that we need to overcome that weaknesses. And alhamdulillah, we're praying that hopefully this Ramadan will recharge us to become better. And then hopefully for the next 11 months, we can sustain that spirituality. So, and this is something special about Ramadan. Subhanallah, I mentioned before that about Quran. We should spend more time reading the Quran, and we should of course have some objective about completing the Quran to finish the 30 juzu. Do the Tarawih night prayers, understand the Quran, read a lot of books about Islam. And Allah SWT and the Prophet Muhammad also has given us another bigger incentive is for us to also to do itikaf in the mosque. And one of the nights, the last 10 of Ramadan, Allah SWT also have promised us that one of the night is there will be a night of power, this Laylatul Qadar. And this Laylatul Qadar is a night where a person who do good deeds in this night is equivalent to doing good deeds for 1,000 months. Okay, 1,000 months, which is about 83 years and so on. So this is a very good incentive. A very good incentive for us to start preparing, to start to look forward to it. Okay, and because Allah SWT knows that we men, we need also here need some recharging. We really, because we are so weak for so many months, that we need to recharge, and we need to really be closer to Allah SWT to understand that all the commandments that we have to follow, and we have to prevent ourselves from committing the evil deeds. Yeah, and eventually, we pray to Allah SWT that by the end of the 30 days of Ramadan, that there's some change in us. Okay, there will be some change in the way we wake up in the morning. For example, suhoor. I just want to mention this. Last week I was telling my students about the forgotten sunnah, which is suhoor. If you look at the Jewish people, they don't wake. For their fasting is basically no suhoor. They just eat one time only. The iftar. The one time is iftar, and that's the suhoor. And then that's it. Then they fast. So if we compare their fasting to us, their fasting is very oppressive, I would say. Like more torture. How can you just eat one time only? But for we Muslims, we have two. Iftar and suhoor. And we have to encourage especially the young ones, they have to wake up for suhoor. And there's a lot of benefit. Because when we wake up for suhoor, we can pray Fajr together as a family. We can read the Quran, Of course, we are not encouraged to sleep after that. We can watch Ramadan TV. We have those are staying here. Okay, we can watch. There's a TV channel for us to remind us about Islam. And of course, suhoor actually is also to make us to wake up early, is to prepare us for tahajjud. So it's like preparing for that the itikaf, the last 10 nights, the malam Laylatul Qadar also. So we have to remind ourselves, especially young people, wake up for suhoor so that we can gain the benefits. Okay, in fact, the Prophet Muhammad also advised that we should delay suhoor closer to Fajr, and we should fasten iftar. Okay, do not delay. If we don't do this, we are just like the Christian and the Jewish people. That's what they're doing when their understanding of fasting is like that. or delay fasting. Very extreme, eh? I want to show that I'm very strong. I'm a strong believer in Islam. Let me delay my fasting. No, Islam doesn't teach us that. I've seen my friends, young people, when they are so passionate about trying to show that I have a strong faith, strong iman. Orang lain iftar saya I want to give more another half an hour. Something like that, but it doesn't come from Islam. It's not a sunnah. I'm not sure whether you have seen this, because I have seen people they just want to show that they are stronger, their faith is very strong. But the Prophet says, when time to iftar, sudah maghrib, that's fast. There's no problem. It's not about you trying to show that you are stronger. You know, I can my stomach can be empty for another half an hour. No, it's not about that. It's about the faith, the Islam, the spirituality. So we also, again, understanding of this is fasting is very important. Hopefully we gain the maximum benefit this coming Ramadan, inshallah. And may Allah SWT give us the strength to also the understanding, and hopefully that we all as a families we were able to remind each other to be closer to Allah SWT, the one who created us. And of course, if you look into that verse 183 of Surah Baqarah, that may Allah SWT also grant us taqwa. Okay, this is something that Allah SWT will grant us if we understand the meaning of fasting in Ramadan, inshallah. So I'll end here. Maybe we can have some discussion, or anyone who would like to add on. Forgive me because maybe my presentation today is not that really perfect, but I hope I may able to deliver the main message about fasting, which is about changing ourselves, inshallah. Jazakallahu khair. Assalamualaikum.
Jazakallahu khair, Brother Raihan. Bapak Ibu sekalian, sekarang kita ada waktu untuk diskusi. Silahkan kalau ada yang ingin tanyakan, either in English or bahasa Indonesia, silahkan kepada beliau terkait dengan Ramadan atau yang lainnya. Silahkan.
It's regarding the Lailatul Qadar, malam Lailatul Qadar. 1000 bulan itu maksudnya gimana ya? Maksudnya lebih baik kalau kita udah sholat tarawih, misalnya kita full 30 hari itu praying tarawih, berarti pasti udah dapat tarawih 80 hari, atau gimana hitungannya tuh? 80, jadi hitungan kan ada juga orang yang itikaf gitu ya, menambah lagi ya. Jadi sebaik dalilnya tuh apa gitu, terus apa yang sebaiknya untuk itu gitu. Jadi calculation of 1000 months itu berdasarkan, kalau saya baca surah Al-Fatihah itu seperti 80 tahun kali surah Al-Fatihah, atau apa sebetulnya 80 tahun itu?
This is a discussion. I invite brothers to add apa pandangan tentang 1000 bulan. This is apa ni, surah Al-Qadar, ya, Al-Qadar. Ada siapa mau komen? Why Allah SWT describe 1000 months? What's the reason? Let me see, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Inna anzalnahu fi lailatul qadr. Wa ma adraka ma lailatul qadr. Lailatul qadri khairum min alfi syahr. Tanazzalul malaikatu wa ruhu fiha bi'izni rabbihim min kulli amr. Salamun hiya hatta matla'il fajr. Truly we send it down on the night of power. And what will convey to you what the night of power is? The night of power is better than 1000 months. In it, the angels and the spirit descend by their Lord's authority with every ordinance. It is peace until the coming of dawn. Lailatul Qadar is 1 day in a year. I want to read this from Brother Sheikh Javed Ali. Lailatul Qadar is 1 day in a year, every year, in the last 10 days of the month of Ramadan. No one is definitely sure exactly what day it is from the known last 10 days. Some say it's the 27th of the month, and others say it varies from year to year, but always among the last 10 days. I'm going to give a very short answer. This 1,000 months is basically an incentive for us to motivate ourselves to spend the last 10 nights in worship Allah SWT. Basically that. As mentioned, incentive here is I mean we know 1,000 months, but can you imagine that Allah SWT also doesn't reveal, the Prophet also doesn't reveal when is the night of power, but it happens on the last 10 nights. So the mentality is for us these last 10 nights to spend more time in the mosque or itikaf, waking up at night, wake, do not spend longer time sleeping, just to be closer to him. That's the main thing. That's the main objective. Because for us to argue, people will debate. Oh, yesterday was Lailatul Qadar. Oh, bukan, another day. We can keep on debating, but that's not the point. That's not what Allah SWT wants us to do. Allah SWT just wanted us to really spend productive time the last 10 days to really be reading the Quran, reading Islamic books, be able to increase our understanding, increase our spirituality. That's the main thing. That 1,000 months is just to motivate us. It's just to make us wake up. You know, this last 10 nights is very fast. Actually, kalau we kira, this last 10 nights is very fast. It's going to pass by us, and then without realizing it, we might be regretful if we don't spend any productive time. So, and in fact, maybe I forgot one point. We all know that in Ramadan, Jibril, during the Prophet's time, Jibril came down and spent time with Prophet Muhammad SAW to read the Quran, revising. It's every night of Ramadan. So that shows how important it is that in Ramadan for us to really be closer to the Quran, our secret text, okay, to the Quran. So, Muhammad, this is my advice. Maybe Pak Jamal boleh tambah, give me some advice, insyaAllah. Muhammad. I also want to tambah because when you talk about incentive, the Prophet says that a Muslim will have two joyful moments. The first moment when he do iftar, okay, the moment it's very happy, right? Remember your perut sudah kosong, suddenly you iftar makan, mashallah, it's a very most happiest moment. That's number one. The second joyful moment when we Muslims, when we human will face Allah SWT, we'll meet our Lord, we'll meet our Lord, subhanallah. So how the Prophet described that joyful moment when we doing iftar and meeting Allah SWT in the hereafter. It's almost the most describing the happiest moment. Okay, so again, the very incentive that we can also try to follow. Another incentive, when I believe is a hadith Qudsi, when Allah says that the mouth of a fasting person is more dearer, to the person, to Allah SWT. Maksudnya, ialah kalau kita tahu mulut orang puasa tu it's not nice lah kan. Kerana perut kosong, jadi the smell comes from the stomach. But Allah SWT wanted to tell it's actually it's the other. Allah SWT suka the mouth of the person who are fasting. Okay. Please try not to blow your mouth at your friends. It's not meant for your friends to enjoy it, no. But it's more for us to be more motivated that fasting is something that really look into it. And I just want to share one thing. As we all know that when we go to the last 10 nights of Ramadan, there's a hadith, there's a dua that we say, Allah innaka afu tuhibbu afwa fa'fu anni. Oh Allah, you are pardoning and love to pardon, so pardon me. Afuun means pardon. It's not forgiving, ghafur, maghfirah. It's different. And alhamdulillah, when I saw a YouTube video when the person trying to explain about afuun and trying to differentiate between afuun and maghfirah in a very simple way. Kalau okay, I'll say this. Okay, ini Pak Jamal kan. Okay, Pak Jamal mungkin sudah buat okay, assuming lah ada bad things that you have done. Okay, since you come here. So maybe on your last day in this mosque, maybe the principal will come or your boss will come and see you. Okay, Pak Jamal, this is your last day in this company. So, but before I say anything, I want to tell you, this is all the bad things that you have done. Kamu datang lambat ke office, kamu makan curi makan, all these things. So he's saying all the bad things. Tapi tak apa Pak Jamal, saya maafkan. Saya maafkan. Maghfirah. That's the meaning of maghfirah. On the day of judgment, Allah SWT between you and Allah will talk to you. There will be a screen. No one will know what is your conversation between God and the human. And Allah SWT will mention all the things that you have done. Will keluarkan all your bad deeds. Then Allah say, Allah ampunkan, maghfirah. But afuun, what does afuun means? Oh, this is, subhanallah, this is the most powerful one. On the day of judgment, Allah SWT will invite you, and then there will be a screen, and then, now you know, as a soul, you know that you have not done enough. You have done a lot of bad deeds. You yourself know, okay? And then you're facing Allah SWT. And then Allah SWT, you were expecting something like, you were expecting like, oh, all your bad history will come out, right? But for afuun, Allah SWT will just straight away say you can go to Jannah. There no mention about your bad deeds. No mention. As if there's nothing happened. Your bad deeds are being like, hangus sudah terbakar. Sudah, like there's no record. That's the meaning of afuun, which means Allah SWT will not mention about bad deeds, will not try to make you feel so bad. Or why you keep me reminding of all my bad deeds? You feel so bad. Kalau your boss cakap you buat jenis salah, you feel so bad. And then by then you feel happy because your boss say, I forgive you. But afuun means no mention about the bad deeds. As if you are created, there was no mention, you are created pure. So that's how the Allah SWT want to show His mercy. The meaning of afuun, subhanallah. And this one, subhanallah, when I heard this one, it's really make us how great is Allah SWT being showing merciful to us. So we should lazimkan basarkan our tekak to recite this doa, especially in the last few nights Ramadan, and may Allah give us afuun, insyaAllah. Amin ya Rabbi.
Bapak Ibu masih ada pertanyaan?
Assalamualaikum Ustaz. I just want to ask your experience share as a teacher. I've got a 14 years old daughter that she goes to a public school, not an Islamic school, and inshallah she will do fasting Saum. And the most questions that come to mind, and I already explained to her, but I think if we can share this and you can give some sort of like another feedback, what is the best way to explain if her friend asking why Muslim needs to fast? And that's number one. What's the easy question to answer that? Number two is, don't you need to at least have drinks. People can say like if you don't eat it's okay, but if you don't drink, I think that's crazy. So that's really often to hear that. So what is the best way to explain that? Okay, this is my religions, this is faith that we need to follow, but that's sort of like it's hard to explain like that to someone who like unbelievers. But how is the best way to explain that? Basically, they will not like or take respect to that.
Okay.
Jazakallah khair.
Okay. Okay. Saya invite ibu-ibu kalau boleh tolong bantu. What do you tell to your teenagers? How to explain why do we need to fast? Apa itu puasa? To the non-Muslim to make them non-Muslim. Just now I started off with about that, talking about the man, the body and the soul. Okay, a bit philosophical, but trying to how to make it easy. Kalau if I mentioned just now that we need to fast because we want to be closer to God, because fasting will bring us, will reduce the temptation of the material, the food, the drinks, all this material. Kita kena faham fasting tu during daytime, right? No eating, no drinking. Kalau husband and wife, no that activity, faham that activity, no, even the sexual desire you have to also stop. Okay, but of course don't tell your teenagers this. But the thing is, it's about the soul. Kita punya soul ni, we need to be trained to reduce the temptation so that we can be closer to my Lord, the Creator, the one who creates me. Okay, and you can explain that I'm asked not to eat and drink from Fajr to Maghrib. Alhamdulillah, in Melbourne it's about less than 12 hours. I can't imagine UK or Europe. Okay, maybe more than that. And then of course the purpose is for us, as I mentioned, to be closer to God, to be closer to Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. The second part you mentioned about eating, eating but drinking. How come you cannot fast without drinking? Now, in the past, those people before us, they used to fast. Ada yang fasting partially, which means they don't eat certain food. Daging tak boleh makan, tapi boleh puasa. Maknanya you can eat other things. Okay, boleh minum. So the fasting for the people before that was not so rigid. It was so relaxed, terlalu liberal. Kata ekstrim tadi So liberal that the fasting was like, oh, you mungkin tak boleh makan, tak boleh minum, tapi boleh isap rokok, something like that, or relax. Oh, that's not the way. The fasting of the people before that was so relaxed that it was not effective. The people were to some extent they were too extreme. Some fasting they were like torturing themselves. Some fasting tak ada effect, no effect. They can drink but but no eating. It still doesn't serve the purpose of fasting. So in Islam, no eating, no drinking, no other activities is to really bring focus to your life, that for the next 30 days, you're going to be focusing about you following the commands of Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, for you to be closer to Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, the Creator, and for you to reduce this temptation. Because in our life, for 11 months, we have been going through this routine. Waking up in the morning, I mentioned just now, waking up in the morning, going to school, eating, having breakfast, having lunch, all these things. It's so routine that sometimes we forget about Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. It's very natural for men to forget, okay, that who is our Creator. Of course, we have prayer 5 times a day, but it's not enough. It's not enough, okay? That's where in Ramadan, it's a month for us to not just to fast, to read the Quran, to able to really understand a lot of things about why Allah told us to be closer to Him, taqwa, all this meaning. We need to revisit, we need to really understand. And the purpose is for us to bring our soul, okay, to uplift our soul as high as possible. Okay, uplift our soul as high as possible. Again, Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala mentioned about the angels and the animals. if our soul have the capacity, the potential to reach the level as like the angels. Okay, but of course we cannot become angels, but almost as close as possible. And if we don't do that, imagine if there's no Ramadan, our soul will become lower and lower, just like the animals. Terlalu too many temptation, the dunya, the materialism, all these things can really pollute our minds, our soul. Okay, this dunya. So that's why we really need to check and balance about ourselves. So I hope that will help. Not sure whether that explanation will help, but okay, you can simplify further. Maybe the rest can help me to simplify further. Bagaimana, how can we tell our teenagers? Of course, our teenagers must understand first lah, and then after that, then we can tell them to tell other people. Yeah, wallahualam. Is there a country yang fasting more than 12 hours? Ada? Kalau 16 hours ada? Summer, eh? Do they fast 16 hours or can they break earlier? Macam mana? Do you know any friends? And does anyone of you have friends in America ke UK? How do they fast? I just wonder. Because it's like summertime and then panas and then Pak Jamal ada kawan-kawan. How do? London 3 jam. And it means they fast 21 days, 21 hours. Okay. Masya Allah. Oh, lama. The summer is very long, yeah. Wow. Okay, boleh Pak, tadi yang saya my explanation okay tak? Ataupun mau is it okay? Or ataupun you need more simplification? Yeah. Yeah, in that sense, yeah.
Respect others.
Mm-hmm.
To promote some sort of like what you call respect between each other.
Yes.
Maybe because we living in this.
Yes. Diverse.
Not
Yes.
The public school. So it's going to be much more easier if it's in public school because people are fasting.
Yeah.
Some like they could make a comment.
Okay.
And how we protect our child to listen to that sort of comment. And how to explain to them, no, I'm not crazy. You know what? Because fasting is basically your body needs rest. Your body needs some sort of time, not to digest all the time. Your body also needs some time, some sort of like probably more into like scientific explanation because talking with them, talking like break to the what's part.
Yeah.
Try to relate to the scientific, maybe they could start thinking, that makes sense. Hopefully after that they're gonna ask more questions.
Yes.
And that's where we start on that one. But the point is just wants to share like if in situations like that as as educators or as someone to understand how to deal with in the non-Muslim environment.
Yeah.
Because like I've got that situation, but I think the teacher also understand. Like during Ramadan, they still need students to do like a sport activity.
Oh, yeah, right.
But you have to explain that we are fasting, so is there any way that we can get some sort of like exemptions or any other lesson to make up?
One thing about fasting is that your children can still go to school. You still lead a normal life. We cannot say some people think, I'm fasting. I think I cannot think. I cannot study. I want to spend more time relaxing. This is the excuses people normally give. Try to tell my students not to do that. Okay. We mentioned about some of the medical benefits, which is true that in terms of medical benefits, this is a language that they can understand. That in our body, our stomach will be able to rest, and then our body also will expel some toxins. So to say, start cleaning. purifying our body. So in terms of medical benefits, there are. It's good to do it slowly. Okay, not to give a one answer. As I think the approach will be, firstly, we can tell them that this is a commandment from Allah Subhanahu wa Taala. We can say that, and then we can talk about the religious point of view, the spirituality, and then we slowly can talk about that medical benefits. And there's a lot of medical benefits. Can we have to reduce diabetes and so on, and then we also can mention maybe about economy, because when you talk about fasting, we also have to talk about charity, sharing. We talk about zakat to fitrah. We also say that this fasting, we are also encouraged to help those who are the poor, the less needy, the needy. So again, this is something to do with social, at the social level. There's a lot of benefits. Again, also depends on how these young people, each question that they ask, we can tell them something that's relevant to their understanding. And regarding like physical activity, there's no harm for them to participate in that, like soccer or any other game. But the people who are in charge, we need to tell them, like, because I'm fasting, therefore I may not be able to be so productive. I may not be able to run so fast. So I hope you understand. So there must be a way for the person who are fasting to tell the teacher the expectation that I'm fasting, therefore I may not be 100%. I may give 80% or 70%, but I can still take part. But if I'm tired, if I feel that I need to rest, please understand I will need to spend some time to rest. So again, this is a good opportunity for us to communicate to our non-Muslims, make them understand. We are not asking them to excuse us 100%, but we are asking them to sympathize, to be able to show more understanding. I think that will make more sense because we want to practice fasting, and I hope the school or any officers, company will provide that environment. Yeah, we are not asking more special treatment, but just for them to be more understanding for our situation. Yeah, I think this is really good opportunity for us to open up and communicate. Yeah, there's nothing wrong there.
Last question.
So far, the discussion has been that the month of Ramadan is the month of weakness for the Muslims, because we try to run the further discussion that we have that we understand that you are fasting and therefore we are limited, we cannot go for 100%. But isn't the month of Ramadan is the month of strength to the Muslims? So if it is the month of strength to the Muslims, why are we telling ourselves that we cannot go for 100%?
Oh, good question.
No, I mean, because it's really the month of Ramadan. Rasulullah was in the battle, and he was in the month of Ramadan. That Muslims won in the battle. So why are we saying to ourselves that we are not able to perform 100% as we used to in any other month?
In fact, I think I've read that some of the medical benefits of fasting is that you can also have to train your mind to think sharp. That's why just now I mentioned fasting doesn't mean you cannot go to school. We must tell our children, puasa tapi still have to go to school. There's no excuses. We're not trying to say that because you're fasting we have to be very weak. No, we still have to go to school. In fact, I believe we can be more productive. In the sense that when the child is fasting, already get used to fasting, and then you can able to live just a normal routine. Yeah. But the saying about weaknesses, I think we have to be very careful. Yeah, we are not saying that because in Ramadan everybody have to stop working, go for holiday. I think this is not the right approach. We have to be normal, just macam biasa, normal life and so on. I know some Muslim teenagers, they still play soccer, still have competition during daytime, Saturday, Sunday, still playing. We have seen so many Muslim role models from America, where I think the most famous one from the Australian Football League. Al-Masri. This guy from Sydney. Anyone from Sydney? Yeah? Hazim Al-Masri. He's a Muslim. He's a rugby player. And during Ramadan, he still keep on playing, training and playing, and he performed better. So he's an ambassador of Islam. In fact, now I hear he's retired already. This guy, this Al-Masri. So that shows. So for those who are strong, not many people will do that. I have to admit, not many people can be like him. But if there are, that shows that Islam is like that. You know, it doesn't mean that we must be weak. It can be complement each other. Again, for me, for this guy who are sportsmen, they know fasting is about spirituality. It's nothing to do with the body. I know the stomach is deprived of water, you know, but if you have that strength, you can transform that into your normal activity, and people will see you differently. It might be some good news.
Yes, another name of Ramadan is Sahrul Jihad.
Sahrul Jihad,
yes.
The month of jihad, training,
yes, the month of jihad. Because big battle happened in Ramadan. For example, Badar and Futuh Makkah is happening in
Ramadan.
Yeah. Okay. So, dan that ada satu hadis yang mungkin we make misunderstanding. Sleeping in Ramadan is worship. So when we fasting, we go to the bed and again.
Okay. Tidur
Tidur lagi. Salah fasting tidak akan membuat kita lemah, gitu ya, karena Rasul sendiri membuktikan bahwa justru Ramadan itu adalah bulan jihad, ya.
Yes.
Dan jangan terkecoh dengan makna hadis bahwa saum itu tidur orang puasa adalah ibadah. Jangan enak banget tidurnya, ibadahnya gitu, tidurnya bukan begitu. Tidur pun dianggap ibadah, apalagi aktivitas yang lain gitu.
Yes.
Baik, nanti Bapak Ibu, demikian diskusi kita today, ya. Mungkin ini adalah the last Ahad, ya, before Ramadan, dan juga mungkin the last breakfast together in Baitul Makmur di Ramadan, ya. Dan Ibu already provide nice food this morning, special food, I think. So the next session is having breakfast together. Baik, demikian, insyaallah demikian, dan saya barangkali sebagai sama pengurus Baitul Makmur, mohon maaf apabila ada kekurangan. Sebelum Ramadan kita saling maaf-maafan, ya. Demikian, jazakallahu khair kepada Ustaz Rehan. Insya next time mungkin kita invite lagi untuk ngisi di sini. Demikian Bapak Ibu sekalian, kita tutup sama-sama dengan kita menulis. Semoga mereka asyhadu an la ilaha illallah wa barakatuh. Ibu dulu atau bapak dulu?
Jadi enak.
Oke,